The dreamlike imagery of artist Francois Escalmel attracts people to his exhibitions in Rome, Italy, and Berlin, Germany, as well as in the city he calls home, Montreal. In spite of success, he's not an artist to settle into one style. He'll jump from painting to photography, often changing his creative approach along the way. One constant about his work, it constantly reminds viewers that Escalmel sees and confronts the world in a way that is delightfully different from anyone else. Works by artist Francois Escalmel evoke his dreams and his nightmares.
I've always been a surrealist at art, so what I do when I do a painting is put elements that don't go together, mix them up to create like a new reality, an imagined reality.
Early in his career, the artist put a lot of himself in his work, literally, using photos he took of himself as a model to complete his visions.
I guess I enjoyed the transformation, seeing who I can play believably.
Eventually, Escalmel switched from surrealistic paintings to surrealistic photo images.
I did a photograph with that it takes place in the Arctic Sea, and you just have icebergs, and there's a character sitting on one of them and just waiting for the bus. So it's very absurd and funny at the same time.
What's also funny, water made from a plastic bag and icebergs made of styrofoam. He made the sets himself, scale models designed to simulate environments as large as life.
These are like mini movie sets that I'm making. It was just another way to construct imaginary worlds, but not by brush, but really by hand. And really going back to when I was a child, I would build things with my hands. That's a big pleasure there, and just assembling, building, but very simply, like with, styrofoam, little wood, a little steel, and make another world with that. To keep it really simple, I had the idea that I would play all the characters in the photographs. So I just put on a costume. So for this one particular one, I dressed as a soldier, take a photograph of me and then insert it with Photoshop in the set, basically like a cinema set that I had created. I think the inspiration was a real war photograph that I saw with a man, and he had found something that was intact amidst like chaos and rubbles, and it's the same idea basically of, a soldier having been through war and then stumbling upon something that is still intact and something he's longing for. He's longing for a woman, the image of a woman, like represented by the mannequin, still like unbroken amidst all the rubbles and the buildings that have fallen. Reminiscing about the happier moments in his life that maybe he'll get back to or not. It's interesting to see what something very small and very simply made can pass for real. One, it's photograph, when it's been through the lens of the camera. I found that fascinating, that it's kind of gains a reality just through that. This one is again a reflection on war, on like the losing of life. So I built kind of a street basically, but where you see paper and elements of destruction, like there's been a riot there, and you have this body lying like probably dead, and there's a big hand, which is a real hand in proportion to the scale model that kind of wanted to rescue the body. So I thought it was very striking to have a real hand, like kind of offering aid.
It didn't take long before the artist had to put his hand back on a paintbrush, but he wanted to push that brush in a new direction.
I feel very much the need to change what I'm doing as an artist. You know, many artists do that, like when they become popular, they stick to one thing. That would be dying to me, like to repeat myself. So I must explore something I haven't done before.
What he hadn't done before were abstract images. But instead of a completely abstract painting, Escalmel places his splashes of color in a realistic setting.
It's a bit surprising for the viewer. I think it's not something we're used to. But the way I employ it, I think it's the abstract parts can work as figuration as well. And I think that's what is interesting, that they have shapes and colors, but that can express emotion or even mimic nature or an object, something else. When I look at the world, I'm always questioning the illusion of reality or reality of the physical world. And these paintings are just another way to talk about that.
Around the same time that abstract imagery began to occupy Escalmel, so did abstract music. He practices on a mini theremin for fun, but admits his true talent is more visual than musical.
To be completely honest, I'm not sure I'll be remembered. I'll be remembered by my collectors who have a piece of my artwork in their house. But if it comes to be, I think I'd like to be remembered as an artist who always pushed his own limits to look for something new and exciting to do.
Escalmel says to get away from always working as a solo artist, he'd like to collaborate with others for upcoming projects. He also has his sights set on creating works of public art in buildings and outdoor settings. You'll find more stories about people who shine brightly at mountainlake.org/spotlight.
Spotlight is supported by the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation, dedicated to improving the quality of life for year-round residents of the Adirondack Park.